Oh boy. Hello, my wonderful cuties. Welcome back. If you are new here, then welcome to this thing. So, this has been sort of rolling around in the art community, and just generally I've been asked this a lot, and that is anime art bad? Oh boy. That's like such a touchy subject, I feel like, because on one hand you have people that really love anime and they're for it, and then on the other hand it's like, anime, that's terrible. Okay, I'm going to share my opinions on this topic and sort of try and help you guys to better yourselves, better art, and all that stuff. So let's sit down, get some tea. I have some apple cider. It's not the alcohol because I don't like alcohol, but it's warm and delicious. So, anime as in the art style. I'm specifically going to be talking about Westerners that draw in an anime art style, meaning like, Americans, Canadians, all the Westerners that aren't like just in Asia. If that makes sense. So when I started drawing, I started with a anime art style. Well, before I was just drawing stick figure people, but when I started actually doing it as a hobby, I did anime, and I looked up really terrible tutorials on like busted YouTube back in 2006 maybe, I want to say. I don't know, I can't do math. I had like no speakers, no sound, and I was just like staring at this like, I will learn the ways. Now, there is this thing about teachers not liking when you draw in an anime art style. And there's a reason for that. I never really had that experience growing up. Most of my teachers were just like, wow, your art's so amazing, wow. Yeah, thanks. No, just kidding, my art's garbage fire. But I never really had that experience of a teacher just telling me like, hey, no, don't do that. And I think a huge reason I also didn't have it was because I started to develop out of that phase, and here is why. Anime art is beautiful. It is. It can be absolutely gorgeous. However, in order to do that, you need to learn realism. I know. Ew. Here's why. Realism will help you understand proportions, shading, how things flow, how lighting works, all of that good stuff, so that you can make really good anime art. Basically, learning realism can help you make better anime. Does that make sense? It's a huge reason why if you go and look up, let's say, concept artists or animators in Japan and like look through their portfolio, you're gonna notice a lot of realism art where they're practicing shapes, body movement, things like that. Because in order to draw proportions well and do a stylized art so that it doesn't look weird and wonky and misshapen, you have to learn realism. It's kind of boring, not gonna lie, and I have to study this too, like constantly. The reason you do this is just because you understand these proportions more, so that you can stylize it in a way where it doesn't look weird. And you can pose things better, you can understand how things flow better. It's really helpful. Another thing that I heard kind of going around in the art community was a huge other reason why your art teachers don't really want you to draw in anime is because it's just not as common in Western culture. You can't really put in a portfolio where it's all anime art. You're not gonna get hired. Like, I don't mean to sound rude, but you're just not gonna get hired. You might get hired if you were in, let's say, Asia, but not in a Western country. They're not looking for that. If it was, say, a Western company trying to make an anime, then they'd be like, oh yeah, cool. But most aren't. Look at big companies in Western society like Disney, Pixar. Any game, really, that's in Western culture does not really have anime. The only examples I can really think of are like Avatar, The Last Airbender, and Ultron, and those aren't really anime. And they were made overseas. I believe they were made in Korea, I could be wrong, maybe Japan, I'm not really sure, but they were indeed animated overseas. Which actually a lot of studios do that, but we're not gonna get into that today. It's really important to express different styles. It's really important to try out different things. Don't keep doing the same style over and over again. You're just not gonna develop. You're not gonna change, and don't, for the love of God, say, it's just my style. When somebody gives you criticism, that is the worst thing ever. Don't do that, please. My little bundles of joy. Don't. I love you all, but your style does not change the fact that you cannot have criticism. I'm sorry, man. You know, there's some things that you can look at and be like, yeah, that's genuinely my style and how I do things. And then there's others when it's like, they don't have ribs or a gut and their eyes lopsided. That's not a style, honey. That's... ooh. But like I said in another video, there's no such thing as really bad art. But don't stop and like not improve just because you look at your art and you're like, yeah, it's fine. Always strive to improve your art. Always strive to change your art. If you're only doing anime art all the time, like 24/7, never changing it, you're really not going to develop and change and progress. It's really important to look at different things. Practice realism, practice drawing objects, practice backgrounds. You can't just focus on one thing. It's going to halt your art and development. It's not a good way to practice. If you're just doing art as a hobby and you're just like, hey man, I just do this for fun, it's relaxing, then yeah man, go ahead, like do whatever. But if you actually want to work in the industry, don't just draw only anime, man. It's really important to have different styles. If you primarily enjoy anime art, then yeah, go hog wild. But if you want to work in the industry, have different styles that you can put into a portfolio and be like, hey, yo, I can do anime kind of style, I can do realism style, I can do cutesy style, like whatever you want, I got you. I can do it. I'm amazing. Well, maybe don't say that. Then they're gonna be like, no. I understand how you can look at this and be like, no, people are just jealous of my art and I have amazing anime art, or no, I don't want to change. I don't want to do realism. It's boring and ugly. Like, I get it, man. I get it. I've been there. But when you don't change and you don't develop, your artwork just stays flat. It doesn't improve, it doesn't do anything. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys to just completely change your art style and like anime is the worst thing ever. That's wrong. Anime art can be sublime and beautiful, but if you're just going to continue to only do anime art and not progress in anything else, it's just going to halt you. It's going to stop any development. And I say this with a heavy heart because I've seen this happen. I've seen artists that I admired at one point that had this beautiful, gorgeous anime art, but they never changed. They never got better. Some of them got worse. I mean, I saw, no shade, no tea, but I did see somebody once do one of those redraw meme things, and the new art just didn't look good. It looked terrible, and all the comments were like, what happened? And maybe she just got tired. Maybe she just didn't want to do it. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know her life. I see this happen all the time, and it's very common. If you're gonna draw anime, just remember this. You can draw whatever you want. You can have whatever style you want, but the only way to get better at it is to learn from reality. In order to learn how shapes work, how shading works, how all of these things work, you have to look at reality. Because no matter what, art is still based in reality. That is why so many animes have to look at real people when they animate something really intense in fight scenes. That's why Disney did the same. They filmed people when they were moving, and then they watched it and then drew what they saw. Realism isn't a bad thing. It's kind of boring, but it's not a bad thing. It's good to try new things. It's good to experience new things. And when you don't do that, you don't improve, you don't change. I think, personally, that anime art is gorgeous. I think it's beautiful. But it does kind of break my heart when I see so many kids that only draw anime, and then they continue to only do that, and years later, their art's the exact same, and they just don't know what happened. Don't stop improving. Don't let your own art stop you from improving. I feel like personally, once art starts to get easy, that's when you need to start upping your game and doing more things. Once it becomes something that you can easily just whip out, you need to do something new. You need to continue to try new things. Anime art isn't the issue. It's the fact that so many of you guys just think that people are bullying you for drawing anime. And that's not the case. It's people wanting you to improve and try something new. I know that drawing an apple from real life is just like, ugh. But from that experience, you're learning how shading works, how lighting works, how shapes work. You're learning how these things work, and you can improve it and put it towards your anime art and make better anime art. Like, my dude, you can make the most beautiful anime art, and all you gotta do is study some, practice realism, and learn these things. And yes, you gotta study in art. I know, it's shocking, but you gotta study. It's kinda boring, but you gotta do it. Learn to accept criticism. Learn to improve. Learn that it's okay to try something new, and it will only improve your art. Anime art isn't bad, it's great. And if you want to make better anime art, just practice more. Learn more things. Learn about the world. Practice things, practice all of these beautiful things, and your art will just completely skyrocket. I think that is all I have to say on this topic. I would like to thank all of my wonderful Patreons: Izzy, Shushu, Strongcools, Weiss, and Hella Sleepy. You guys are so amazing and wonderful. Thank you so much for the $10 tier. You are just making my life so much easier, being able to pay for my food and stuff, my medicine, because it's expensive. Thank you so much. You guys are just the best and wonderful people. Anyways, that's it, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are. And please drink some water. Bye!